Okay.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Nerd Space here on sci-fi.sk. My name is Alex, and we have a English-speaking friend of mine here, who is Andrew. Hello.
Hello. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. And we will be as we both are real fanboys of 80s animation. Ta-da! We will be talking about He-Man and the Masters in the Universe, which came back a couple of even months ago already on Netflix with a new animated series, and 1 month ago or not even, just a couple of weeks ago on Netflix with a 3D series for new generation of fans. And we'll be talking about a lot about history and how we came to the cartoon and what we like about it, and how we actually what we think about it right now, like 30 or 40 30 years ago, 40 years since it actually originally arrived. So this little nerd space will be in English, but I hope you will all understand, or whatever. Just find somebody who will translate it for you. So Andrew, how did you actually arrive at He-Man and the Masters of the Universe? Have you been a fanboy from the start, from the get-go, or did you see the toys first, or the animation series?
Yep. So I saw both of them at the same time, and the TV show was really a great advert for the toys. It made me pester my mother to go out and buy them, and I've been a fan of He-Man where I've lived as a child. So I spent some time in California and in Canada, and then moved to England. And that was popular in all three countries. And I was lucky enough that when I moved to England, sometimes an aunt in California would send me some of the latest toys that hadn't arrived in England. So that was really cool.
Wow, you were one of the cool boys to hang around.
Yeah.
With all the new stuff.
Yeah. And I think they were both sort of great products. So the TV show had really good quality animation for that time period, with decent stories, and also the toys were particularly good. I mean, if you stood one of them up next to a Star Wars toy, the He-Man toys were much bigger, and they were pretty tough. You could play pretty hard with them with your friends, and the toys would survive.
Good quality.
And they did things like most of them, they would sort of turn at the waist. If you turn them in one way, they'd sort of spring back, and
or the arm or fisto,
yeah
punching people.
And Ram Man, you could actually make him ram by pressing the little button on his leg.
Yeah.
And
it will spring up.
Exactly. So the toys did a lot of stuff, and they were quite a big size. And everybody was playing with them, so it was the cool thing to do at the time, and it just captured my imagination, both the show and the toys.
I mean, in Slovakia or Czechoslovakia at the time, He-Man was not present at all in the 80s. We had real socialist style of programming here, so no American imperialist aggressive cartoons or stuff like that. Though, to be honest, He-Man with his cartoon and later She-Ra, I mean, with all these kind of moral of the stories at the end, would actually kind of pass. I mean, thinking about that. So when I first arrived with, or when I first got in touch with He-Man, was actually at the end of the 80s, when my dad somehow got a satellite. It was just before the change of the end of the socialist rule, and then coming to a revolution and democratic country and stuff like that. So he somehow, when it was already kind of easing out, when the situation was a bit easing out, and even like new electronic devices came onto the market, he somehow managed to get one, and I would spend my whole Saturday mornings and Sunday mornings in front of TV which I didn't do before. So my my parents were freaking out watching cartoons. Because we had only cartoons on Sunday morning. That was like a short break of cartoon morning. But now it was just Saturday from 6 till 12. It was just cartoons. It was just the children's channel, and it was the Sky One with Fun Factory and all the stuff, and it was RTL with all the other cartoons they had. So it was a mixture of English and German speaking cartoons, and even that I didn't understand a bit. There were some cartoons which didn't catch my attention at all because of the animation style or because of the stories. I kind of didn't get gravitated towards them. He-Man was one of those, and like the She-Ra was one of those which really stuck out. I mean, they had, even that the animation was a bit of a kind of a sticky figure, because they just reused so much of the cell material they had previously done for other cartoons just to keep the cost low. It really had some great, like all the, even the positive and the negative, heroes and the villains in the cartoon were really only nicely done, well designed, very imaginative, and so I really liked it. And it was really standing out. I mean, besides all the other ones. But I really loved the animation of the transformation. It was just like wow, and that was very cool done.
Yeah.
And I think I even liked She-Ra's better, but just because of, I think the quality just improved a bit, and all the glitter and stuff like that falling around, it was just perfect. So yeah, I was totally sold.
Yeah. But you see, as a child, when I watched it, I didn't notice that there were certain stock sequences that they kept reusing.
No, as a child, you kind of, okay, you maybe think about it, but you never really, you throw it away. You don't really think about those things. You just watch the story and how the story goes on. That's it.
Yeah. No, as an adult, when I watch it now, I realize, okay, there are some sequences I've seen a couple of times in a few episodes there because they needed to save money on the animation. But that's cool. That's fine. It's part of the magic of the era, I think.
Yeah, and all, as you could have seen, like all figures of like males and females, especially females, they use just one template for the general figure, and then just plastered stuff onto them, or just change the attire and what they wore, and what weapons were. But all of them looked like from a template. Like all of them had the same figure, like very much Barbie-like,
Yeah, they were all as muscular as He-Man generally.
Yeah.
But that was really good because that meant that most of the figures could go with the vehicles. And I remember there were one or two that wouldn't, like Ram Man wouldn't fit in any of my vehicles, wouldn't.
Oh, yeah, because of the stocky legs,
Yeah, because the shape was just completely different to all the other figures. So, yeah, that was different. I remember Orko. I was waiting ages for them to make an Orko figure, and then they eventually did, which was really good. I remember his special action. You put a string in him. It looks like a piece of plastic, and you pulled it. And when you pulled it out, he went spinning round and round and round, which was quite
cool. Like a girdle or whatever it's called.
Yeah, like a spinning top.
Yeah. Perfect.
And, yeah, but the fact that most of the toys were from the same mold actually was quite nice for putting them in the vehicles and playing with them that way.
Did you also have any of the like big stuff, like the Castle Grayskull? And oh my god!
Yes, thanks to my mum for Castle Grayskull. Thanks to my aunt for Snake Mountain.
Wow!
Really cool. Yeah, I've still got them.
Oh my god! Cool. So I mean, it's an investment, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it was funny when I got those toys because they don't look so much like the versions on the cartoon, especially the Snake Mountain.
Mm-hmm.
The Snake Mountain looks really different. And what I found really funny was in the very new Netflix show that came out last month, the Revelations one, that they've got 2 Snake Mountains in it.
Yeah.
And one of them is the Snake Mountain that looks just like the toy. And one of them is the Snake Mountain that looks like just like in the 80s animation. And I thought that was a brilliant sort of homage to both the toy and the animation, that they had both of them in there. I thought that was quite clever.
Was it also called, I mean, wasn't called Snake Mountain, even though it looked different?
Yeah, it was still called Snake Mountain.
If you compare it, I mean, in the 80s, it was from our point of view, it was a golden time for animation. Especially like if you compare it to the 90s, I've seen some. It was not a meme, but there was a main heroes and main cartoons from the 80s, and next to it there was the same with the 90s, and you could see the difference that was in terms of how even the style of cartoons changed in the 90s, very much into this, I don't want to say bizarre, but very like free form. I mean, the body types. The 80s still wanted to somehow come close to the realistic portrayal of some of the protagonists, but the 90s just went away, you know. But still, it was one of the many cartoons which existed in the 80s. Why do you think it was so successful? What made it so best? And it really stuck out.
I think it was a combination of the toys and the show. I think because the toys sold a lot, that meant that Filmation got, you know, lots of encouragement from Mattel to carry on doing the shows. And there were like, you know, over I think 130 of the 80s shows. So they were producing so many shows for so many years. And then they would rerun them Monday through Friday after school. So you'd be expecting He-Man like every day.
Wow.
So there was a lot of programming out there to encourage you to keep buying the toys. And then it was sort of interesting when they were tailing off He-Man. They went more in a She-Ra direction. And I felt a bit funny about that, because as a boy, I felt maybe I shouldn't be watching She-Ra, because it was very, I mean, I think it's the toy commercials for She-Ra that put me off, because the She-Ra's toys just look like Barbie He-Man. Toy as a boy. And I sort of I didn't buy any She-Ra toys. I've got He-Man toys, and I felt like I was secretly watching the She-Ra TV show,
because I was not supposed to watch the
show. Which is a shame, but
but it was really good.
I didn't want to get teased. Yeah.
To be honest, I was totally watching both of them, because any show I got, it was just better than not having any of them, you know, previously. So I watched it all when I had the chance. Sorry,
What I liked about She-Ra was that, you know, her sword could transform into anything she wanted.
Oh, that's
I
true.
really wanted one of those swords. You know, I could just say sword to oxygen mask when she's up in outer space. You know?
Did you do that?
Did that?
Oh,
she turned it into an oxygen helmet.
I only remember the common ones: sword to lasso and sword to shield. I mean, that was the most. But sword to oxygen mask is just topping it.
It was like space helmet. Big thing.
Perfect.
So I like that. Plus, you know, she got a friend who she could fly on. You know, Battle Cat can just run, but Swiftwind can fly all over the place.
That's true.
So that's pretty cool.
They totally upped her. You could do much more. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. But then it's also been interesting to see what's happened to He-Man and She-Ra over the years. So, you know, He-Man in the 90s, so He-Man started his life in the 80s. Then in the 90s, he became the New Adventures of He-Man and looked like he was a soldier with a ponytail at the back of his hair. But that was a bit funny and had really not that much to do with the original He-Man.
Yeah.
It's sort of set in the future on a completely different planet. Then we had to wait a while. Well, then we had the movie, didn't we? Did you see the Dolph Lundgren box office? But I really liked it. I thought it was like a different reimagining. You know? Did you like it or not?
No. I will show it to you. I will just make a little. Yeah. This is the French poster, which I'm showing to people from the movie with Dolph Lundgren, which came, I think, in the 87 or something like that. I think. And it was just a total nightmare, to be honest. I didn't like it at all. It was just, there were no familiar, I mean, besides him and Skeletor, there was no other real, figure. I mean, okay, there was Sorceress, but she didn't look like Sorceress. She looked like, I don't know, Ice Queen, whatever. And it didn't play on Eternia. It played on Earth. It was just, what the... No, this is bad. It was just bad. I didn't like it. Sorry, I can't hear you. It was just, you're breaking off for a moment.
Yeah, but that must have saved them a ton of money. Doing it on Earth rather than trying to...
True. Yeah. So they saved money again.
Yeah. But and then after 1990, I think they had a bit of a break, and then I know in the early 2000s they did this whole reboot, which I really liked. You've seen the He-Man from about 2002, 2004, yeah?
Yeah, I've seen it. It was really, really good. I mean, even when the intro started, it was such a blast because they took the beginning of the old intro, placed it with the new graphics, and then in the middle of this sentence, "Hello, my name is Adam," and blah blah blah, and suddenly you just bam, an explosion, and it all tore around. Suddenly there is characters flying around, punches being thrown, amazing music, and he transforms into this bulk of crazy man, really really tough. So yeah, it was crazy, and even from the get-go, I was really amazed how they approached it and how reimagined well it was for the time, because it was really a great way of taking what worked in the previous cartoon, ignoring the movie, ignoring the craziness of whatever, and just going back to the roots and reimagining it very, very well, and taking even the lore, taking it and building up on it, with Skeletor being this even the beginning of the cartoon, with Skeletor betraying his family, the royal family, being a brother to the king, and being with some kind of acid or some kind of magical effect, just losing his skin and still staying alive, and becoming this skeleton face, the skull face within the armor. It was just amazing. I really, really liked it. It was well done. Really. For those of you who really want to see it, just go and watch the. If you don't like the 80s cartoons and you think it's just too stocky and too too preachy in terms of moral stories, just go for the 2001 2002, I think, cartoon, and it's just such a great start with the series, with the whole universe.
Yeah, definitely recommend seeing it. It was good.
Yeah. When we are talking about He-Man and She-Ra, we had this whole army of the evil, and we have Skeletor and we have Hordak. What do you think about those? Were the villains interesting part of the story, and which one did you like most? Were you like the Hordak or the Skeletor? Or... Somehow,
Yeah.
sorry.
Well, I think they made. Uh, I think they made Hordak a bit too camp
Okay.
in the She-Ra thing. It was difficult to take him seriously. Whereas at least with Skeletor, I could take him slightly more seriously. Um, and when they brought the Snake Men in, they were like more serious bad guys
Okay.
as well.
The King Hiss and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Which is very interesting because even the new cartoon, which we'll come up with, and we'll talk about Revelation, takes very much from that lore with the Snake Man. And even when I was looking at the because DC did comic books were a huge part of the line from the get-go, because they were part of the. Did they come with the toys? There was like mini comics in the toys.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when I was, I mean, a couple of weeks ago when Revelation came, I just bought like this huge tome of comics from DC about He-Man. It's like the whole run, the omnibus, and they even have like, which I showed you before. They even have these old comics from with Merman and stuff, like the basic, from the 80s at the back, which was cool, to see how they started and how they developed from that time. And they look very Prince Valiant like. I mean, with him being on the court and stuff like that, and that's what I think was also part of the success, was that they really took the best out of all worlds they could. They took stuff from Prince Valiant, they took stuff from Conan the Barbarian, they took stuff from Star Wars because it's fantasy meeting science fiction, in this one world, with screens and huge artifacts like flying vehicles and people with swords, at the same time, which is like, why? But it works, Somehow it worked.
Yeah. Yeah, and in the comic books, he's a bit more like a barbarian than
Yeah.
on the TV, isn't he?
Yes, very much. Even with this, he had like this kind of a fur, fur ties or whatever. He had an axe before, At the start, he had an axe, and then they changed it into a sword. So
Well, with the original toy. With the original toy, you got a sword, a shield, and an axe. But the axe, the TV show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or the shield, to be honest. Yeah.
Yeah. He just used his sword. Power, of course. On Netflix, they made this really, really cool documentary about which is called Toys That Made Us. And it's about like toy lines from the, I think, 80s, 70s, which very much culturally influenced our whole generation now, 30, 40 years old. And I just recently watched the He-Man segment, which was so funny and so well made. I didn't watch the series because I kind of didn't have time or totally forgot about it. But for this, I really watched the one episode, and I cried happy tears, like almost all the time, because it was so well made. They talked about how actually the whole company Mattel was working for coming up with this new thing because they were losing shares on the market due to Star Wars, which they could license, but they didn't, and some other company took it from them, and now they had to come up with their own stuff because none other licensing stuff really worked out. So I really, really liked how they actually talk about how these guys, which are now, I don't know, 70 years old, came up with this amazing and iconic look and the name and all the stuff around it. Have you if you want to, oh sorry.
Yeah, yeah, and I think I was going to say, I think that was a really good show worth having. Viewers get time. The Transformers episode from the Toys That Made Us is also a good watch.
Have to do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
When if you would have to select a one toy or one protagonist or a villain or from the camps, maybe one goodie and one baddie, which ones would you select? Which ones are your favorites from the He-Man and Masters of the Universe?
Say He-Man and Skeletor, because that would be too obvious, right? So I think Man-at-Arms always interested me about the different ways that he tried to support the main characters. He-Man and Teela was sort of trying to be a dad, although not really their dad. In quite a different way for He-Man or Teela. And so I thought he was a really interesting character. And for the bad guys, I thought Evil in the 80s show and then in the more modern shows.
Mm-hmm. Evelyn, was it?
Yeah. Well, where her motivations were sometimes interesting,
mm-hmm.
but she was sort of maybe a good person, but just doing bad things. I'm sorry if my audio is a bit late.
Yeah, it's a bit late somehow.
It's just the internet connection.
Yeah. No worries. Well, if I would have to select one, I would go Orko for the goodies because I always like magicians, and even if he's a real somehow kind of a unlucky one in terms of how bad his magic is, I really like would like him to succeed and be a good one, because I think still like in this new series in Revelation, he has such a he has like the best roles in the whole thing. I think this that is a very nice portrayal of him. And in terms of the baddies, I would say I really like the it was from She-Ra, but I really like Antenna because of these eyes things. It was so weird, and she's also very clumsy and very like oh no, I don't know what I did, whatever. I can't even make the voice. It's so crazy. So she is so cool and always like on the side, like a real sidekick who really wants to do her best, but always manages to do something bad. So yeah.
But hang on, you said she. That's a man.
She's. Is she in Antenna? Isn't she in She-Ra? I can't remember.
Yeah. He is a member of the evil horde.
Oh.
His name is Antenna.
Oh my god, it's a he. I can't. Well, they, whatever. I mean, wow.
Yes.
I always thought it was a girl.
I was going to say he's a bit camp as well. He's so camp you thought he was a woman.
Yeah, crazy. Yeah, well, see, they could have been anything. Yeah, coming to the new season. Revelation arrived on Netflix this summer, and it caused a huge controversy within the community, and YouTube is full of videos of people putting it down and just making fun of it and really trashing Kevin Smith, who was the executive producer and writer on this one. And what were your leaving this by side? We talked about that. What were your initial reactions to Revelation?
Well, I have to say I really liked it to begin with. Okay, I think I liked all the He-Man series apart from the 90s New Adventures of He-Man. And I really liked how it really paid homage to the original 80s series and to the toy line as well. I was surprised how He-Man and Skeletor got killed off in the first episode and didn't really seem to come back for a while. And I was surprised how Mossman gets burned alive and never comes back to life, which is not the kind of thing that would happen in the original 80s show. And then was also surprised that Teela went off in a very weird direction where she half shaved her head and became like very lost in her life.
Yeah, I hated it, to be honest. My first reaction was, what the fuck am I watching? Like really, like when I watched it the first time, I was
I hated it.
God, I was so in a space when I was like, what were they thinking of? What they were doing this is just horrible, you know. And many people were probably stuck with that, the first initial reaction, because they just, and I think that was the problem with the whole marketing on the Revelation, because they just pumped people with very different expectations towards the show, and it wasn't what they were planning, or what they were telling people that it was going to be. And suddenly we're having this show, the 5 episodes, as part 1, and it's not He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, you know. It's the story of Teela, and her show, you know. And that, I think that was the main point of the thing. If they would have just taken the premise and be very honest about it, how maybe the first half is about Teela, the second half is about He-Man, whatever. We don't know what the second part is. It would be a totally different reaction of the audience towards this, because you know, He-Man is not killed once; he's killed twice in this series, in this first part. And like what? Why? What? You know, when the second killing comes, and I'm like, no, what are you doing? And that is a what the fuck moment still. I mean, even after the second watching. But now I'm watching it from a bit of a distance.
It's kind of like Game of Thrones.
Yeah. Can I ask you? Could you restart your browser?
Yeah, it's like Game of Thrones meets He-Man. It's like all the important characters are getting killed.
Could you maybe reload your page? Maybe that will change the audio bit, maybe, and make it a bit.
Okay, I'm going to.
Oh wait! Oh my god! Now I am. Here I am. So, if you didn't watch Revelation, go and watch it. It's still a great looking cartoon. But if you do not know anything about He-Man, perfect. If you know anything about He-Man, just watch it with open eyes, and you will be maybe surprised. Really surprised. So, how is it? Can you hear me?
Okay. Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Looks good.
Okay.
Perfect.
So I was just saying that I think the Revelations is like Game of Thrones meets He-Man, and like every important character is getting killed off pretty quickly.
Yeah. After watching it once, I was really, really pissed. But when I was watching it second time, as a prep for this talk, and you know, just giving it a second chance, I can get what they were trying to do, you know, and it's very brave at the same time, and they are mixing so many things, and as you said, it was a paying homage with all of the other snake mountain and stuff like that. They're really pulling out all the drawers and taking all the interesting stuff out of the originals, like really even the basic ones, the old ones, where even the premise with Castle Grayskull can be gained access to, or the secrets can be gained access to by pulling the sword into the lock and unlocking it with a sword. Even that is there. So I'm very happy about how they mashed it together to create something new to be amazed about and speak about. But just a couple of moments where you feel like, oh my god, this is like the reactions of the King Grandor, and just this whole thing at the court, and then later coming back of Skeletor is just so cheesy. It's a bit too much at the same time, so I'm like, oh well, could have been better. But at the same time, it's really nice. What did you think about the inclusion of Preternia and Subternia in this?
That was interesting. I've never seen that before. It was an interesting idea. Plus, also interesting that they brought in Scareglow, which is a toy they made but had never put in the cartoons, but was very important for that bit. And they also had some other of the toys that never made it into the cartoon, like Night Stalker and Bashosaurus, which I owned and I used to love playing with. You could bash everything with the Bashosaurus. So that was nice to see. So yeah, some nice new ideas, and brought in some old toys that never made it into the cartoon, which was quite nice.
Yeah, I really liked even the first episode when they approached it and they had like this old toy, the cars and the vehicles like in there, even the rotating freaky stuff. I mean, it was so cool. It was good design though, not the one with the claw or whatever, but the flying ones were really nice. The from the Skeleton's army. And also the Cyclops now getting this new church of technomaniacs and corrupting people with technology. I mean, it's a nice and interesting effect. I'm not sure if I liked the whole magic is draining from the universe due to one whatever, but why would you do that, Skeletor? If you knew this is happening and you are a magical creature, you have the Staff of Havoc, which is magic. Why would you drain magic from the universe? This is crazy, and kill the universe by doing so. So kind of weird, but okay, I suppose. And then he finally transforms, at the bend. I was a bit surprised that they actually like the Preternia and Subternia stuff, because when I was researching, I came. Oh, by the way, I have another stuff which I do have, and this is this crazy thing, which is like a really other big book from the universe, and it opens up really fancy because you have to open the gate of Castle Grayskull, and you can already see it. It's when you open it, there is He-Man, but you can slide it out. And it's the art book they created a couple of years ago. And what I was totally surprised about was that there were we'll probably not find them right away, but there were maps. Precisely. Oh yeah, there it is. And it was even a map of Subternia. Yeah, it's amazing. And like even Etheria and stuff like that, in Grandor time, and Preternia.
Cool.
With all with even like the 3 towers, which they also used in the series. So and it was I think it was one of the toys, these. And I think they used that one. So I was really surprised that they actually really were paying attention to like what the 2001 2002 series did, and really we lost him again, chat. So as I was saying, I really liked it how they actually did the whole stuff and reused elements from the original, which is so cool. I really liked it, and they were very thorough about how they portrayed them. Even that, I'm not really sure I like the way how they portray like Preternia being this heaven and Saturnia being this hell of a place, because that's not what Preternia is actually. Hello again. Are you there? Yes.
Yeah.
So I was one thing which I was a bit picky about was that they actually shown Preternia as this heaven Valhalla place, and Saturnia as this hell place, which is not exactly how they were portrayed previously in the lore, because Saturnia is just like it's what lives beyond the crust of this Eternia planet. That's Saturnia, It's not a hell place. It's not a whatever. So, and Preternia actually was thought about like to be this prehistoric Eternia, which was designed to be the home of Hero and stuff and other heroes from like this old time for the new toy line they were preparing in the end of the 80s, which I think never was made with all these dinosaurs and stuff like that. So I was a bit yeah. So they misshape that, but I mean, yeah, it's a good enough analogy if they just do it like this. I don't mind. Not all has to be like to the book, and we'll see that even in when we talk about the 3D cartoon, Netflix just pushed out.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So the controversy. Many people were really like having a what the fuck moments with He-Man and actually it's called Masters of the Universe Revelation. The name of it. Was with I mean very much the story centering about Teela. Was Teela a character you paid attention to during the 80s or stuff?
Yeah, she was pretty important in the stories, and she had some good stories, especially her origin story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because to be honest, I never really paid attention. I thought she was like a really I didn't really like her, to be honest, as a character. And now I was even like, maybe that was what came like transform into my initial reaction. Like, what? Teela? She's just a non-clue sidekick who doesn't know anything. Like, why would we even care about her? So yeah, and many people thought that what I actually got from the reactions were like that focusing on Teela instead of He-Man. We are again like pushing like new agenda with the female power and all those characters, and look how they look. They are buffed and stuff. I mean, yeah, they are buffed, but they are buffed because they are fighters. I mean, seriously, why wouldn't they be? I didn't mind that, but yeah, we actually the new cast is like the main characters are women in this part one, especially with Teela, with Andra, with and yeah, people complain because Andra, who was spotted once in a comic and where she was white, is suddenly black. Whatever, I don't mind that. And Evelyn, we have three women who are in charge of this quest, and who are all kind of contributing to it. And I mean, the production value is really high of the series, especially the dub cast is just amazing. With yeah, as you said, Game of Thrones, Lena Headey and Liam. Yeah, I can't forgot his name. But yeah, I think that was a huge part of the success, maybe, you know, of what they were actually at least betting on, that the cast will be so stellar with Mark Hamill coming as a Skeletor, though I bit kind of lack this maniacal laugh of the 80s. I really liked how they actually portrayed him in the 80s cartoon, and now we have more Joker than than the 80s Skeletor, but okay. Okay, we're back. So we're talking about Revelation and how the controversies were really huge around it, and how they really got the female characters in front of the show, which is okay, I suppose. I mean, as we thought, the main problem was with the marketing, I suppose, and all the expectations that were made before the show went online, and how people were reacting just because of that, I suppose. How did you like the? Yeah.
I was going to say, I suppose I walked into it without any expectations because I didn't see any of the marketing. All I saw was the very brief trailer that was on Netflix, and that was it. So I think I came to it with a more open mind then.
Yeah, and that was the right approach, I suppose.
Yeah.
Do you have any wishes for how it should follow up with part 2? Do you know anything, or what you think about it?
I am willing to just see how it goes. I want these guys to use their imagination and deliver something interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah. I'm sure from what I've seen so far, they've certainly got decent quality voice acting and really good animation. So I'm expecting that will be top notch again in part 2. I'm just interested to see where they take it.
Yeah. By the way, I thought they actually, when I was looking through this comic book, they really also took a bit of the, you know, art style of this Skeletor on power on power hike, which actually, if they would go with this, would also lead to He-Man on power boost. Would look like. Somewhere. Yeah, something like this.
Wow. Golden He-Man.
Yeah. Power Rangers.
He's the Golden Power Ranger.
Golden Power Ranger, yeah. You also seen the.
I was going to say that's what they did to Skeletor in Dolph Lundgren's movie that you don't like to talk about. When Skeletor took the power, he became like the Golden Power Ranger.
It was bad. It was really. I don't want to talk about it.
It was good. You just need to have the right perspective on it.
I will watch it again, just for your sake. So I can.
I'll watch it with you sometime.
Put a stamp on
it. You'll be sitting there going, no, and I'll be going, yay!
Terrible, just terrible. So you watched also the new He-Man and the Masters of the Universe on Netflix, the 3D cartoon.
Yes, the computer-generated one. Yeah. Yes,
what do you think about
that? Very different reimagining. So I thought the 2002 remake and the Revelations very recent remake were both pretty closely based on the original 80s cartoon and toys, whereas this, it's much more loosely based and really reinvents the He-Man universe. So I thought it was very different, and I was sitting there watching it thinking, if there are diehard fans of the original 80s, are they going to hate this because it is so different from the 80s show? But I try and just look at these things as a new reimagining of the original. And I thought they had some interesting ideas there, like Adam sharing the power not just with Cringer, but with a couple of other people. I thought that was quite interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And I really liked the transformation sequences that they animated, where
Mm-hmm.
each of the characters was transforming into their He-Man style character with the power up. And then they had even more power up, like they'd have lightning strike or something like that. I think
Lightning strike. Very wheeling warriors, like
yeah, like wheeled warriors, yeah. where He-Man would get even more power.
Mm-hmm.
And it sort of reminded me of Digimon, where in Digimon they had these animated transformation sequences where they'd get power and then they'd get even more power, go to an even tougher, stronger fighting version.
Mm-hmm.
So that, especially the penultimate episode, was just full of transformations. So that really reminded me of Digimon style transformations.
When you're saying that, the Digimon, yeah, it is. There is a bit of that in this portion of He-Man. To be honest, I really liked it. I can imagine that the hardcore fans will be even more not liking this. But at least, I mean, what speaks for this is that it doesn't lie about it being He-Man if it's not, like Revelation did. And this is just a really new approach to this. It's a reboot of the whole universe, and and with that comes the freedom to actually reimagine things as the new generation would like them to be. I mean, the also sorceress, and I mean Tila being, is it Tila? I can't remember.
Yeah,
Tila being the sorceress and all switching into this new figure of hers, which actually is being also a bit alluded in the Revelation 2, because when she was fighting Scareglow, she also has this like a three some kind of a sign appears on her forehead, and as she holds him back. So there is a bit of a lore unexplored here yet. So we'll see how this goes. But it's very, the 3D cartoon is very bright. It's there's a lot of crystal stuff going on, and it shines. I like how He-Man, I mean, or Adam and He-Man are really humorous with the sword, and he's suddenly being this bulky guy, like a child still in this body. This is very, very well portrayed. And I like even the animation. It's a bit plastiline like, very much like Play-Doh, but good enough.
yeah. It is well done. I think both the recent Netflix series have been well done. They're very, very different shows, but both very nicely done. Well, what I thought interesting in this as well is that everybody knows Adam is He-Man here.
Mm-hmm.
And have you seen the new Netflix She-Ra? In that, everybody knows that She-Ra is Adora.
Yes, because she tells, like, in the first series.
Yeah,
she transforms and uses that as an argument of people trusting in her. Yeah.
I mean, what did you think of the new She-Ra on Netflix?
I liked it. I only watched the first season, I think. Can't remember if I watched the second one, maybe the beginning of the second. I really like the they are all younger here. They are not women. They are kids. Which is, again, a bit of a way of how to approach this from a kid's point of view, if they look at it and can imagine them being these young princesses, because it is Princesses of Power. That's the name of the show. So it's the young generation of princesses getting into a coming of age story as they grow into their roles. And I really liked how different it is, how the characters are really, there's some annoying characters, there is some really lovely characters, and this there are some characters. Bo is so amazing in this one. I really liked his character. He's like this this caring, I don't know, brother and friend and the best BFF ever. So yeah, also with the whole lore of this planet, with the old technology still being there, and the light hope being like a guiding, more like of a guiding spirit than it was before in the original here. I mean, I really like this.
Yeah, I mean, I liked lots of stuff about it: the stories, the voice acting, the animation, the character development. There are a couple of episodes which are very tongue-in-cheek. There's one which I don't think you'll have seen yet, then, which sort of makes fun of the original She-Ra series. It's kind of like, if you watch it, you'll know exactly what I mean. It's like Teen Titans cartoon meets 80s She-Ra.
Perfect.
You've got to check it out.
Cool.
I can send you a link later if you want something.
And I also liked it was the Katra Shira thing. You know, we finally have somebody on her level in terms of this story, which is not Hordeg or somebody, but like this also a young person, an adept of Hordeg army who wants to rise in the ranks, and how also the technology girl, the technology princess, switches sides. I mean, no, I can't remember. But yeah, I mean, this is amazing. Like, it really plays well in a certain short story format with this a group of ensemble of characters who are very into and the role is and their roles are changing. I mean, that's what I liked about it. Is this character development is really rapid and really well done.
Yeah, the girl you're thinking of is Entrapta.
Entrapta,
the hair that does everything. Yeah. Well, I'm not going to spoil it for you, but then in the final series, lots of character development happens with Entrapta, Adora, and Catra.
Oh no, nice.
I think you'd find interesting.
Very good, very good. Looking forward to it. I mean, all of that's what we were talking about. Like, all of these shows which now came out in the Masters of the Universe franchise, it being She-Ra, being the Revelation, or being this 3D, they all really do well in terms of even a critic's choice. If you look at Rotten Tomatoes, all of them have an 80s plus score, and even the audience on the new He-Man and the 3D one is with 80%. I mean, it's even really well received. So I would say they do get a good start for reboot of the universe. And of course, Mattel is looking forward to make money of it in terms of franchises and licensing sales and all the other stuff, and maybe some new little action figures. Where do you see this going on? Where do you see this progressing? Do you think there is a will it grow? Because even the 3D cartoon, the children like it, also really encapsulates like a small amount of heroes. The first season just played with a really small scale in terms of protagonists on both sides. Do you think they will just go boom with it and make it really large, as the previous one?
I hope they sort of gradually add more characters to it. I think, looking at the way they've done the animation, I'm guessing it's expensive to add each new character on. So maybe they'll just expand a few characters at a time and hopefully develop the story and the personality and the backstories of these different characters.
Yeah, because those are on a back burner right now. I really also like how they, I mean, even with Men-at-Arms, how the position changed, within this whole universe. I mean, they took out of the lore some stuff which they kept sane. With Keldor, here being again like the lost brother of King Randor, and also Adam being the right now lost son of King Randor. In exchange or in regards to the revelation, where Skeletor there is supposed to be once again not Keldor, but some kind of a descendant of this other dimensional tribe of skeleton people.
Where was that? Sorry.
It's not in the series, but they did a comic book with Revelation, and it's there. So they changed that. I mean, like, why? I mean, maybe it doesn't fit in the what they want to talk about or what they want to tell. But yeah, it's a different approach in there. Some kind of a so every what I'm hinting at is that every cartoon they did right now is just totally different. You know, it meshes up old stuff totally differently. Do you think this is a good thing? I mean, if it's so incoherent and it doesn't really all fit together?
Yeah, it's difficult. I think what's interesting is if you have some completely different styles, hopefully you'll get a faithful audience to the style they like. So, you know, maybe some people will like the computer generated version and stick with that. Maybe some people will like the Revelations version, which is very different, and be loyal to that one.
So it's more like a try and error, and we'll see where we go, and which cartoon survives, and that's the lore we go with. I mean, we are talking about Mattel here. They don't really probably care about the continuity and the universe of their franchise. They care about making money with it. So what if we have 4 different series and a comic book series, which I think they are right now publishing of DC, which do not go well together. We don't care. We just sell stuff, and it goes well, and that's what makes it good, because every single different cartoon demands a different toy line.
Yeah,
and they all look very different from each other. So
that's true. That's true. And do you think they'll spin off any other merchandise? We were looking at the board games that are coming up, weren't we?
Yes, there are actually 2 board games coming up. One of them is, and this is a really weird situation, because there are 2 companies developing 2 different board games for the Masters of the Universe franchise. Both are online now on, I think one is Games Found, which is like a Kickstarter crowdfunding platform, and the other one is somewhere else. And they have very different licensing stipulations, and those licensing stipulations very much go weirdly, and I have to look into this, why this is so, go very much into regional licensing. So for example, one of the games, the Fields of Eternia game, is produced by Archon Studios. I think it's a Polish company. They didn't do much, but this one looks really good. And they achieved their Kickstarter, so they're going to produce it, and everything looks nice. And also the prototypes look very good. They actually do care about stuff, so they took out the map of Preternia, which I was showing you, and placed it as a board. So that's the board. It's precisely that map. And that game, when you supported it on GamesFan, which is a crowdfunding platform they used, you could select a country where you would like it to, or they had a list of countries which they have to ship to. They cannot ship to any other country, And US is not a country on the list. So, for example, Slovakia is not a country on the list, but Czech Republic is, weirdly. I don't know what the stipulations are for that, but they cannot sell to certain markets. And the other board game from CMON, or CMON, whatever the name of the company, I didn't see any rules or any information more about like how the mechanics of the game are, but they sell to the other countries. It's like a divided or many other. I'm not sure, but I think that one is like straight from Mattel, so maybe that's gonna. But the previous one, it's very weird. I don't get it. I don't get it.
Yeah. Well, I'm just looking at the Fields of Eternia game details on my computer right now. It looks like a beautiful adaptation.
It is beautiful. That's why it was so far it was well received by the community, and I think many people even go for it because of the figures and how they look, and of course figures sell games right now, so crowdfunding and things like that. And but I've seen the mechanics, like a playthrough of the game on one of the YouTube channels, and it's like a board placement, like a area control game with certain missions which every party has, and you can play with the good guys. I mean, everybody, and you have like I think 2 heroes in front of you, and you play with those. Or you can play with Skeletor and his minions. And there is another like expansions, which is like the Hordak and his army, and King Hiss. So the Snake Men are coming back, which is cool. I mean, really, it just shows how amazing this whole universe is, and how diverse it is, and how many factions there are. And you do select some missions which you keep secret, and you like place your tokens and your minions on the board. And when you meet or when you explore another piece of the map, there is an encounter, which is a card you open. It could be good, it could be bad. You may fight other heroes or other villains, and the fight is actually like a placement of cards on different on a separate board. When it comes to the fight, which kind of, I suppose, if you are playing it with more players, just makes the third player just step outside and do nothing for a while. But it looks very really neat, you know. And there are different like you can have magical attacks. I think you can shield and defense, and you have magical effects. So and real physical strength. So you place your cards, and then you flip them on the same turn, and see who wins. So it's a different approach, and I like it. It's a different mechanic. So I never seen this one before. So yeah, I backed it. So I will play it. We'll see.
It looks like one of those where it comes with little figurines that you need to paint, which some of my friends will love, and I'm not going to have time to do. Will you?
No, I have so many figurines already. I tell myself I will paint them when the time comes, when I'm a pensionist.
Yes, I was thinking the same. Maybe when I retire.
Yeah.
Although I hope then that I'll be able to see well enough to be able to paint the tiny bits on.
That's what I'm
thinking.
So yeah, we'll see. I don't know anything about the Command game. It is a different style of game. I suppose it will be more simpler in terms, I suppose. At least it looks like it. We'll know, I suppose, later in this year, when the Kickstarter comes out, when they get it. It's called Clash for Eternia.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it is that one? Oh, it was already online. Come on. It's page here, it says. Interesting. It's a hexed board.
Okay.
Hex board with a plastic cover with your hero. And then you can have like equipment cards next to it. Interesting. I like the other ones better. And of course, there are millions of figures in this one too. Because that's what sells games now. Oh, Stridor. Oh my god.
Where are you seeing that?
I will put a link in. So
it's nice to see these things being kept alive, though. He-Man being reproduced, reincarnated.
Yeah.
Every decade.
I mean, there are millions of figures in this one. I'm not sure if I go for it. Oh my god, there's a huge set of expansions.
Wow.
Crazies. Yeah. So if somebody, terrains, yeah, you could spend your all of your money on this, I suppose.
Wow. Okay. I've just followed the link you
Great.
sent me. I see they've got $2 million pledged already.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, again, little figures that you need to paint that look very nice. Oh,
the sculpt looks good. Yeah, the sculpts look
yeah.
good. Yeah, and I think that was the main problem with the marketing on the Fields of Eternia, because it was mostly for Europe, you know. And this is due to licensing strategy of Mattel, and this one is more for the US. So yeah, I think that's the difference.
Yeah, I can see in the pledge details it says will not ship to Europe due to licensing and contractual obligations.
Yeah, and that's why there are there's a huge amount of people who supported this one. It's probably much higher than the previous Fields of Eternia. Yeah, just for the comparison, the Fields of Eternia did get almost 1,912,000, so half of it, which is still okay, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah, considering it sounds like it's just Europe. That's still very good.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this. I mean, that's what I also like about. That's the. To be honest, franchises do survive on licensing. That's the main point of them. That's why I was so unhappy with how, for example, Warner Brothers mistreated Babylon 5, because they didn't make it available. Also, not in licensing, not anywhere else. There were no products with it, so they really kept it on low burner and low profile, and that's what. And then that's why they actually kind of mistreated it in a way. And I'm really happy that now there's a reboot of Babylon 5 coming back, very much like this.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh no.
It's just a week-old news.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
And J. Michael Straczynski's doing it again. It's going to be a series for CW in the US. But it's very much like this situation here with He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, with Revelation just being a different reimagining of what people think they or demand in terms of what they would like to see, and maybe what Revelation did bad was misreading the target audience, because for Revelation the target audience were like us, 30 plus 40 plus people, guys who've seen the He-Man and grew with the cartoon, grew up with the cartoon, and maybe played with the toys, and they are not getting He-Man. That's the most problem with it, And that's what the people with Babylon 5 also think about. Like, are we getting? Oh, why are we getting a new one? We already like the old one, and the whole huge amount of fans are being very skeptical about what this new iteration will bring, and it's gonna be like the 3D cartoon on this side.
Okay.
It will be very much like it, I think. It will be a new iteration, and Straczynski has new ideas with it. So as this cartoon doesn't really speak to the old people because they do not grasp the concepts behind changing like Ram Man to Ram Mam. So, sorry, but yeah, no. And Man at Arms isn't really a Man at Arms. It's just a boy who wants to be Man at Arms. So yeah, I mean they're changing This is a changing platform. It's a reimagining. The reboot's gonna be different, and also the Babylon 5 will gonna be. So I think there will be a lot of hate speech when it comes out, being why being there, But it needs to be because the franchises do need fresh blood, and nobody's gonna watch a 30-year-old series somewhere parked on a streaming service. I mean, sorry, but it's how things are.
Yeah. Unless they love the new one so much and they want to go back and see what the old one is about.
I suppose that will be probably the case. So many people just now with the news of Babylon 5 streaming around and catching up the glimpse, oh, there's a reboot of something. What is the original? So they will probably go and see it. But yeah, other than that. So yeah, that's from us about the He-Man and Masters of the Universe. I think we can say that we do recommend watching all of the 3 cartoons, which are currently on Netflix. If you want to know more about the history of the franchise, go watch the He-Man and Masters of the Universe episode of Toys That Made Us on Netflix. And you mentioned there was another documentary about He-Man, which was called Grayskull, I think.
Yeah, it's not on Netflix anymore, I think.
Power of Grayskull. The definite history of He-Man.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't see it there at the moment. Maybe it'll come back sometime.
Me neither.
But if you watch The Toys That Made Us, that contains a lot of the same information, and it's quite concise and very good.
Yeah. Cool. So yeah, thank you for being with us today, Andrew.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Sorry for the audio issues. We'll work on those in the future. Yeah, looking forward to meeting again because we haven't seen each other in a long time.
Yeah.
Okay. See you. Bye-bye.
Right. Take care. Bye.